Welcome to Ground Control. I have another brushless micro plane to review. This is the XK A180 F22. Alright, so we'll go over some quick functions on this brushless micro Parkjet. It's another sub 250 gram plane, so you're under the FAA radar in the United States. That's one of the things that I want to try to maintain, is give you some brushless micro plane options that are under the FAA restrictions, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so what comes in the box? You get the plane. The plane is fully assembled except for the landing gear. The landing gear just slot in to the plastic keepers. Very ready to fly plane. It comes with 2S 300 milliamp hour LiPo. This does come in 3 different versions. You can order it with the version with 1 LiPo, 2 LiPo, or 3 LiPos. Now, in order to do as little damage to my budget as possible, I ordered the one with 1 battery because I have plenty of these little 300 milliamp hour 2S LiPos. Now this one came with the flat white connector. So the ESC and the battery on this one have the flat white connector. Most of my, well, I think all of my small 2S LiPos this size all have the red JST connector on them. So I fabricated an adapter to switch this from this flat white connector to a JST connector a long time ago. So for my other flight batteries, I'll be using that adapter. But mine came with 1 battery. It comes with a USB charger for the battery. It comes with the manual. It comes with a screwdriver. It comes with the transmitter because it's ready to fly. This is a mode 2, so I have the throttle on the left-hand stick, the aileron and elevator on the right-hand stick. The button on the top left of the transmitter changes it from low rate to high rate. And if I remember correctly, a single beep is low rate, double beep is high rate. The button on the top right hand side of the transmitter switches from 6G to what they refer to as 3D mode. Now, 3D mode means a lot of different things on these XK planes. This one means that you're switching from 6G mode to 3G mode. So the gyro is active in both modes and looks like it will self-level the plane, but in 3G mode I guess it is less restrictive so that you can do aerobatic maneuvers with it. So same thing, I think when you turn it on and bind up to it, it defaults to 6G mode. So I think if you click the button, you'll hear a double beep, and that will be in 3D mode. Click it again, you'll hear a single beep, and then that will be in 6G mode. I believe that's the tones that I got from it. So I just turn on the transmitter, connect the battery, wait for the plane to bind up, give it 4 or 5 seconds for the gyro to initialize, and then you should be ready to go. I like the fact that they have a very tall landing gear on it. There's one thing that always concerns me is catching the prop. So there is clearance from the ground and the prop. So if you have a nice hard smooth surface, you should be able to take off from the ground with this plane. I'm going to be flying it with the landing gear. I'm going to hand launch it. I can't take off from that ground out where I am. I'm going to hand launch it, but I'm going to use the landing gear for landing to keep the airframe up off of the hard pack. So let's go out and test fly it. I haven't changed any of the default positions of the linkage. I did have to make one adjustment to the plane right off the bat, and when we get back I'll give you all the specifications on the plane, and I will tell you what adjustment I had to make to it right off the bat as soon as I pulled it out of the box and bound it up. So you might want to take a look at that. So anyway, it's made out of EPP foam. It's going to be extremely durable. I don't know if I need to adjust any of the linkage on this yet, but we'll find out after we do our test flight on it. So I'll see you out in the field.
Let's get this XK A180 Brushless Micro sub 250 gram F22 in the air. I'm bound up. I have got it in low rate and in 6G mode for launch. I'm going to try 60% throttle because that's my go-to throttle when I have no idea what the launch throttle should be. Alright, so let's move back here. Don't have very much wind out here, which is good. Alright, so let's try 60% throttle and see what we have. Oh man, that took off nice. Back off the throttle a little bit. I forgot to mention it's got LED lights underneath the wing, so that definitely helps with orientation. It's not too restrictive in 6G mode and low rate mode. I'm going to back off the throttle even more just to see how well this gyro can keep it in the air. Check it out. Not bad at all. So far, very stable. I can see the I can see some wag out of the wing, so I know the gyro is working to keep it in the air. Flying around with a little bit of high alpha. See that? I don't know if maybe you guys can see the LED lights on it. I'll bring it back over here again. Bring it back over here again so that you can see the LED lights. I've got my, I forgot to set my timer. Okay, so can you guys see that? I've probably had it in the air for a minute already. Bring it back over here. Alright, let's gas it up a little bit. Alright, I need a little down trim on it. I'm floating. I cut the throttle. It's just floating. Look at that. Ain't awesome? Watch. Okay, throttle's off. that is pretty good. Okay, so I want to see if it climbs on me again. Yeah, it is. Let me put some more down trim in the elevator. Alright, let's bring it back. I've got the throttle off, guys. Can you see the LEDs? That is pretty cool. That is just floating. Okay, give it some gas. I'm just cutting the throttle on it. Just to see it, it just floats really well. Go over top of the truck, bring it back through here, closer in. Ooh, whoa, kind of nose down on me there. Okay, so let's gain some altitude and then we'll put it in 3G mode, 3D mode, which is 3-axis gyro mode. Let's see what we have. Okay, so now, woo, yeah, woo, 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 it's kind of hard to hang up. Oh, I just hit the safety switch. That is kind of hard to hang on to in 3G mode. So I think I'm definitely, especially on the ailerons, I'm definitely going to have to soften up by changing the linkage on the control surfaces. But in 6G mode, it's very well behaved. Let's try that again, just to see. All right, so, ooh, I had to save it there. I had to save it there with the save me button, the parachute button. It was going to nose in. Yeah, so it's pretty darn squirrely. It is pretty darn squirrely in 3G mode, 3D mode, what they call it. It's pretty well behaved in 6G mode. Let's keep it out of the sun. but it definitely needs some toning down on the control surfaces. I want to climb back up again. I want to climb back up again and just cut the throttle. Watch this. Okay, throttle's off. Look at that. Look at that glide. That is pretty cool. Let's see, can we do any high alpha with it? It has pretty good power with that brushless motor. Let's see here. Look, it moves up pretty well at full throttle. Throttle's off. Throttle's off. Whoa. I was going to land on the truck there. Do a carrier landing on the truck. Yeah, that moves out really well. Well, it's definitely fun in 6G mode, but I want to get it toned down so I can bring it back out and do some maneuvers with it in 3G mode. But definitely need to tone down those control surfaces. I thought I might, but I think this might be the second factory brushless powered Parkjet that I've flown. And oddly enough, I think the other one was an F22 as well. So, as you guys know, my GFS Micro and Mini are F22s. Brushless, of course. Plenty of power, unlimited vertical on both of them. But this might be a fun option for someone who wants a brushless micro sub 250 gram Parkjet. Alright, so to bring it back, I want to climb up again and do another float in towards us. And this is going to be coming downwind. Okay, so power is off. Power's off, guys. That is too cool, huh? That is really cool. Woo! Very well behaved in 6G mode. 3G mode, not so much right now. I thought I set my timer. I haven't heard it go off yet. I think surely I've had this in the air for 5 minutes. Okay, let's do one more float in. I love doing that. Turn it this way. Power's off. Look at that. Oh, that was going pretty fast through there. Just gliding. All right, I want to do a couple more circuits and I'll bring it in. I want to do another speed run through here. Let's get out a little ways and let's do a speed run through here. Doesn't that move out pretty well for a little 2S system? Okay, so I'm going to see if I can bring it in and land it on this little dirt lane. Let's come back around the other way. It's going to be a bit of a crosswind. All right, here we come. Here we come. See if we can float it in. Oh, yeah. Oh! Alright, so I will wipe the dirt off of it and make it look new again. And then I'll meet you back at the hangar. I'll give you the specs on this this little brushless Parkjet. A lot of fun in 6G mode. 3G mode, not so much yet. But we'll see if we can take care of that. Before I bring it back out again, I will make adjustments on the linkage to soften up those control surfaces, and then we will test it out in 3D mode, which is 3-axis gyro mode, when we bring it back out again. So and I'll tell you about the adjustment that I had to make to it. So I'll see you back at the hangar.
Okay, so we concluded the maiden flight without crashing it, although I did come close a couple of times and had to use the parachute button on the transmitter to save it. It handles really well in 6G mode. It's very maneuverable, even in 6G mode on low rates. You can fly it in a very small area. It seems to have sufficient power, although I haven't had a chance to test any aerobatics with it yet. So I am going to, before I take it back out, I am going to move the control linkage from the center hole on the control horns to the bottom hole of the control horns. As a matter of fact, I've already completed that. And then we'll take it back out and we'll see how much that softens up the control surfaces in 3D mode slash 3G mode. We'll see what that does for us. I saw one bad behavior out of it, and I will try to replicate that before I conclude the review. But when I was coming in nice and slow and I cut the throttle, it nosed down on me abruptly. So I saw that behavior on another Parkjet that was brush motor powered, not brushless. So I don't know if that is unique to the Parkjets, because I've never seen that happen on a regular, traditional plane. But I have seen that behavior on a Parkjet style plane before. So I will see if I can replicate that and get it to do that again. But it only did it to me once, but it really nosed down pretty hard, and I was able to save it, bring it back up off the ground. The adjustment that I had to make right away on this, when I bound up to it, I always check the position of the control arms on the servos, and one of the control arms was pretty 90 degrees. It was pretty straight, 90 degrees offset from the servo. The other one had a forward angle to it, pretty good, and so if you leave it that way, you're not going to get symmetrical movement out of your elevons. So they include a little screwdriver with it, and they also include a spare prop. I don't know if I mentioned that. So the first thing I had to do was remove the retaining screw from the servo arm, remove the servo arm and rotate it until I could get it, exactly the same as the servo arm on the other servo. So in a neutral position, they're both pretty well 90 degrees offset from the servo, which also required me to remove the micro plastic clevis off of the control horn, turn it in about 2.5 and 3 turns, and then put it back to get the other elevon level again with the opposite elevon. This is another reason why I like to see these plastic clevises with the threaded control rods, as I stated in my wish list for manufacturers, for RC manufacturers, rather than having a Z-bend and a trim loop to deal with. That would have made it much more difficult to get that elevon adjusted if I'd have been dealing with a Z-bend and a trim loop instead of this plastic clevis with a threaded control rod. That made quick work of it, which is why I like to see these on all planes. The other thing I noticed is that the prop is just friction fit on the center post of the motor. After the review is over, after I conclude the review, I'm going to see if I can fit a T-mount prop on top of that motor. I've got a lot of different, size and pitch of T-mount props to see if I can squeeze more power out of this motor. But I'm real happy with it in 6G mode. It's very well behaved. You saw the glide when I climbed up to altitude and just cut the throttle completely and just let it glide in. It really has a very good glide profile for an F22. So I've made the adjustments on the control linkage on the control horn. So I'll take it back out for review part 2. We'll test it again in 6G mode and in 3D mode slash 3G mode, and see if that softens the control surfaces up enough to where I can do some aerobatic maneuvers with it. Okay, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.